So we got there to the armbar setup, and Graham just says, I feel like I want to go for the back. You're like, because Graham's experienced, so he knows actually the best option for me here, I've got access to the back. You know, when you've got access to an armbar, there's also a potential for the back, and you make the right read, you know. So once you get there, you sort of just ties back into like a back attack sequence. You know what I mean? You know, so the branches diverge off, and you just, the more experience you get, the easier it is for you to make fast judgments about which one is the most available. You know, but let's go another step here, where Richard's being more effective. You're pulling his elbow fully out, and I've missed that moment because it's a very brief second where I trace down from his armpit to capture the elbow. So now we're going to grab the wrist. So take a little look again, because we're talking about UFC. You're like Charles Oliveira. For me, Charles Oliveira's got the best close guard, or the best guard in MMA. You know, like not necessarily like you put him in World Championship or whatever, or ADCC. Probably hasn't got the best guard out of, you know, next to Newcastle or anybody. You know, but in terms of like self-defense, MMA fighting, Charles Oliveira's guard for me is fantastic. You know, so what you'll see him do, like oftentimes, you remember when he fought Armin Sarukian? And he had a very shallow overhook. So normally what you preach is like for the Vale Tudo guard, I grab this deep overhook and I grab him by the back of his head and I tuck my head in here, but he still has this hand to punch me with, you know, so I'm trying to capture this arm and so on. We see him do Charles Oliveira. He grabs here by the wrist. Now it's kind of like with the gi, I've got a lot of friction, you know, and with an MMA glove, you know, I can often hold this here, you know, so he knows he can punch with this hand. He square up with me. He knows he can punch with this hand, so he just puts a shield up here. So now what we're doing is trading a hook onto my glove, onto my forearm, you know, for an elbow. You know, it's very nasty, you know, so that makes guys want to pull away from this and start to block that elbow. And as soon as he does that, he can put his feet to the hips, and I'll start to control here. You know, so especially if I don't have to worry about a punch, you know, this grip here, it's the same one that we did across the elbow, but now I'm doing it across the wrist. So what I want you to think about here is that I'm trying to wrist lock him with my armpit. So it will not actually result in a wrist lock, but I want to do that kind of action. You see, if I'm wrapped around his forearm here, Rich, can you just yank it out? Possible with a little bit of force. But if I grab him here, like it's a wrist lock, say, now Rich, can you pull away? Very, very difficult. You know, so maybe I missed the moment here as he pulled this elbow out, and it slipped even more. So now I hug it tight to my chest. So just the same way as if I was applying, you know, Achilles lock, yeah. I grab here. Now I can get my feet to the hips, and now it's just got real trouble. You want to pull away from me, it's very, very difficult. You know, and that's where Charles Oliveira manages to pull people back into his triangle. You see there, so I went diamond shape, and now I can manipulate this arm, and we're back into the very same triangle that we did a few days ago. Easy? Yeah. Or you'll see, like in terms of MMA, in terms of MMA, you know, like a lot of guys, they try to get up and get away from this, they're trying to get away from this elbow, and they stand up, and now here I can kick him in the face. Bow, bow, bow. You know, so now here you want to push back in, right? You want to push back in, and people fall into Charles Oliveira's triangle. Or they pull right away from him, yeah, bow, bow. And Charles Oliveira gets his stand up. Easy? Good. So whatever you do, can't lose. That's simple. Do you want to practice it there a little bit later stage? But the key is, yeah, I want to imagine I'm trying to put him in a wrist lock using my armpit. And now here with the 2-on-1, I can really control the distance in between us. So you try to pull that arm out. Look, even with his feet underneath him, it's really, really difficult to pull this out. So it's not his wrist. Oh, sorry, it's not his forearm. It's his wrist. Once I capture that wrist here, it's very hard to pull away from me, even with his legs underneath him here, let alone when I'm in my guard. Easy? Should we practice? 1, 2, Charles Oliveira style.